What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, December 10th. The morning afternoon live show coming to you live from Queens, New York. What's up, everybody? Woo! Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, what's up? Hey, yo! I see FightCon's already in the chat. What's going on, FightCon? Kevin Davis already with all of his predictions. We'll get to all of that in a little bit, but I'm glad to be back here on this Tuesday with all of you. Yes, I know it's not Monday, not my usual streaming day, but I couldn't go live or else you would have been hearing a lot of this. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Zzz, zzz, zzz. Go, 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 go. Yeah, that's basically what was going on yesterday here. I guess some unit in this building is having some repairs done and some work done, because I heard that they're selling their apartments. So a lot of construction being had, and I just wasn't. It would not be fair to you, nor would it be fair to me, because I'll be losing my mind trying to stream and broadcast while all that crazy noise is going around. So I couldn't do it yesterday. I apologize, but like I said in my post on my channel, I was gonna make it up and I would go live today, and here I am. And what are we going to talk about? Well, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, because as we are approaching the end of the year, a lot of the film critic circles, you know, early awards nominations and ceremonies are already starting. So we're getting a buzz, a feel of what are the top films of the year that people are looking at, that people are expecting to make waves and noise at this next year's Oscars and all of that. So I figured, let me take some time to review some of the stuff that has come out, give my thoughts in it, because as of right now, I've seen the majority of all these films. Now, I don't want to put out my own personal top films of the year yet, because I haven't seen everything yet. I haven't seen Nosferatu yet. I haven't seen The Great Unknown yet. I haven't seen Mufasa yet, although I don't think Mufasa will make my list. That's just an early prediction. But I'll make sure to do all of that in January when everything's all said and done. Plus, I still need to do my full review of my films I saw at New York Film Festival, which many of them are films people are talking about here towards the end of the year. So we'll do some of that. Of course, we'll look in some of the box office stuff. First of all, big announcement to start off at the top of the show. I have agreed to a $700 million contract with the New York Mets. I, too, will be joining Juan Soto, and I'll be cleaning his shoes and buffing his helmet while he now enjoys that crazy, crazy contract there with the New York Mets. So catch me at Citi Field this upcoming baseball season. Let's go. No. But in all seriousness, my real announcement that I want to make and that I want to put out there is, yeah, controversies aside and all that, I thought this would be a good idea and something that would benefit more of you guys, more of the audience out there. So I want to, you know, you've done so much for me in supporting the channel by watching, you know, liking videos, all that stuff, chatting in the comments. So I want to give something back. So I reached out to Hawk Tua, the Hawk Tua girl, and we are creating our own meme coin. We're going to call it Geek Tua. Geek Tua will be launching this Friday, because I want to make $1 million and pretend like I have no idea what's going on. So there you go. There you have it.
You blew it! Fuck off!
Yeah. So what craziness is that? I mean, with all the meme coin nonsense and so crazy. Oh, this girl. She is, I think, at this point, the pure definition of 15 minutes. Right? I would say a viral video because of something funny that she said. Now, what, 6 months later well, let's start. That, then she now has a podcast that I heard is terrible. If you ever hear her speak for like more than 5 minutes, it's god awful. It's unintelligible. And then to create a meme coin to basically scam a bunch of people. And you could say like, oh, maybe she was unaware and all that. Maybe she got into bed with the wrong people. And that could be very well true. I mean, the people that she was involved in with all of this stuff is insane. If you ever do research, if you ever watch the videos like explaining how all of this went down, it's bananas. It's really bananas. And how she was on a call on this live stream on X, Twitter, and you could tell she had enough of it, right? Like she basically just wasn't, she didn't want to have anything else to deal with. So she ends the call by saying, all right, y'all, I'm gonna go to bed now. Time to go sleepy. I'll talk to y'all guys later. I mean, seriously, it's like, talk about not understanding anything and how you are not built for the type of fame that you got. So yeah, Miss Haley Welch, the Hawk Tua girl, pure definition in Merriam-Webster's dictionary for 15 minutes. This is the pure definition right here. But watch out for this Friday, our release and launch of Geek Tua, the meme coin of the century. Be ready for that. All right. I hope all of you guys had a great weekend. Great rest of the week last week. Let me know what you guys have been up to. Let me quickly just check in on some of the chat here. Ficon saying, so random collab. Hey, that's what gets things started, right? That's what get the buzz going. Let's go. Let's make it happen. If anyone ever approached me to do any kind of meme coin, I will say, hell no. F you guys. I don't want to deal with any of that nonsense. But Kevin Davis had a whole bunch of stuff he wanted to say. He, again, always with the stats, with his predictions and his, all this stuff. We're going to go more about this stuff later on, but he wants to put it out there. Best drama motion picture will win. The Brutalist could win. Conclave, maybe. Best musical motion picture, Wicked, and ANORA. So he just like spewed a whole bunch of stuff out there. Sometimes I'm convinced Kevin Davis is a bot. I don't know. He does ask great questions at times. Best drama series will be Shogun. Best comedy series will win Bear. Maybe Only Murders in the Building. It's just a lot of stuff he's putting out there. Best anime feature will win. Flow could win. Inside Out too. So yeah, all this random stuff. So Arnold's also in the building. What's going on, Arnold? Very nice to see you as well. Always a pleasure to have you here on the stream. In case you missed the announcement, I will be teaming up with Haley Welch to launch our meme coin this Friday called Geek Tua, because I'm planning to make out like a bandit, make a ton of money, and pretend like I have no idea what's happening. Of course, all of that is not true. Ficon saying, looking forward to my new Skeleton Crew episode tomorrow. That's right. For us here, it's coming out tonight. I thought they were going to do one of those like midnight release stuff. So I was hoping that before the stream, I can like watch the episode and talk about it, but they didn't do it. So it's funny how now Disney Plus is following a very old school, typical kind of release schedule for their shows. Very, very much like network television. Like every week you used to watch Cheers or Seinfeld or Friends at this time every day, every week. So it's really interesting how now they're kind of following that kind of formula. I think it works. I think it allows people to give themselves time to actually schedule their, themselves and get ready to watch certain things that they want to watch. And then if not, obviously they could just watch it whenever they can, which is something that growing up we were not ever able to do. Once you miss it, you miss it. The only thing you can hope for is reruns to happen when the season comes to an end. But yes, I did, Ficon. I did watch episode 1 and 2. I'm going to talk about that as I recap my last week. Last week has been, another busy, crazy week with work and personal stuff. But I did allow myself to sit down and finally watch some stuff. So I watched Skeleton Crew. I watched the new Creature Commandos on Max. The official start of James Gunn's new DC universe. The official launch of that. So I did watch that. And I actually sat down and played some new games, which I rarely get to do. And I figured, since it is somewhat related to movie talk and all that stuff like that, I do want to talk about my experience with the new Indiana Jones game and with the new Marvel Rivals game that came out last week. But first, let's talk about Skeleton Crew. So Skeleton Crew came out last week. I wouldn't say I was highly anticipating this show, but I was very curious about it. I knew from the get-go, and they've been saying this ever since they've been promoting it, ever since they announced it, that it is a show geared towards a younger audience. It's kind of Goonies in the Star Wars universe. That's something that they kept saying over and over again. It's the main star in the show is Jude Law, but Kerry Condon was in the first 2 episodes, so I thought that was also pretty fascinating there. I'm sure we're going to be getting some other cameos in there. A lot of, just like with The Mandalorian and other shows, a lot of guest directors. I'm excited for this new episode, episode 3, because it's going to be directed by the Daniels of Everything Everywhere All at Once. I believe it's their episode is going to be tonight. So I've been dying to see what else they can do after that great movie that they put out there. But before I continue, hold the phone. Hold the phone. Because it's Arnold's birthday, everybody. Arnold, happy birthday, my brother. He said he just came home, was eating pizza with friends. That sounds like an awesome, awesome birthday. So big wishes. Please, everyone, throw some hearts in the chat, reactions or whatever like that. Shout out to Arnold. Happy birthday to Arnold. Great stuff, man. Hope you enjoy this new trip around the world, around the universe, around the sun. I have a birthday next month, so we're all getting older, but really, really happy that you got to enjoy your birthday. Now you're closing out the day with me, so I'm really, really happy to see that happen. So if I can also say my opinion, Skeleton Crew, 7 out of 10, episode 1, 7.5 out of 10 for episode 2. All right, so we'll talk more about that. Also thinking that Omega and Hondo cameo might be happening. That would be interesting. And Paula, hello there, Paula. How are you doing? Where are you hailing from? Let us know in the chat. And by the way, wish Arnold a very happy birthday. So yeah, so all this stuff. So I saw the first 2 episodes, and I'll just say this off the bat. It's a very charming show so far. It is very charming. It is definitely not going to be for everybody. It really isn't. It is more wholesome, very kiddie, very young generation. Like I said this before, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. It's weird to see suburbs in the Star Wars universe. It's like everyday America, but in a galaxy far, far away. You know, you have your neighbors, you have your people, you know, walking dogs and all that, or alien dogs. So it's just so funny to see this in a Star Wars setting, because we never got to see anything like this. But it is really, really interesting to see it play out the way it's played out. And it's different. It's something new, right? So far, I don't find the kids annoying, which is a good thing, but each kid has their own dynamic, right? You obviously have the daydreamer, right? The guy who is, you could tell they're inspiring to do more than what they're doing. And then you have the reluctant friend of his that just comes along for the ride. Then they team up with these 2 girls. You know, one girl is basically the rebel, the I'm too cool for school, you know, and all that. And then you have her buddy, who I'm thinking is an android, very similar to like the guy who worked with Lando, you know, with the headset and all that. She's kind of similar to that. We don't know yet. But, you know, she's like the technical person, I know how things work, kinda, you know, and I'm a little bit more serious, but I'm also very curious about the world and all that, because maybe a lot of this is kind of new to me. So I love that, you know, you have that kind of dynamic there with the kids, and, you know, they're going on their little adventures, you know, they're thinking they came across something, and it turns out it was something huge. I don't know how much I want to talk about in case there are some people who haven't seen it yet. But I will say it is extremely charming, very, very 80s type of adventure stylings and setting. I'm sure we're gonna be getting more into that. I like that we're dealing with pirates, which we kind of saw a little bit of that in the Mandalorian series, which is kind of cool. And then Jude Law was the big reveal at the end of episode 2 as they were in jail because of flying away in some random ship, landing on some planet, and they're being held captive, trying to make their way back to their home planet, which turns out to be a fictional planet that no one believes exists. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that all plays out. And the big reveal is that it looks like Jude Law may have some force sensitivity. I don't think he's a Jedi. I think he just knows how to manipulate the force and all that. But so far, I think the show is charming. I think I would agree a little bit closer to Ficon. I don't do out of 10. I do out of 5 stars. I would give this maybe a 3 out of 5 so far. It's not terrible, but it's also not like outlandishly great in any sense, but I did find it charming and entertaining. So we're only 2 episodes in. I'm dying to see what the 3rd episode's going to bring with the Daniels directing this episode, because I think that's going to be a fun episode, and we'll see where it goes from here. But so far, decent start. I will have to say, decent start, at least for me. But I could see how maybe, and I haven't really looked into reactions or any criticisms about the show, but I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who are already shitting on it and all. So, but let me know your thoughts if you had a chance to watch Skeleton Crew yet. Paul is saying live in Durham, New Hampshire. Okay, cool. I was not about a month or 2 ago. I wasn't that far off from you, as I was in Rhode Island for Rhode Island Comic-Con, working over there. So it's always nice to get a chance to visit those parts of New England. So I'm happy you found the stream. And I hope you're having a good day so far. Arnold saying, thank you, brother. I'm happy to close my day with you guys. That is the best for me, too. Enjoy my night with the community. Awesome, Arnold. As always, we are very happy to have you here. Ficon, that Neil opening scene just explained my whole childhood in one scene. That's cute. That's very cute. I feel like the opening scene in, whatchamacallit, in the Skeleton Crew, again, when you get to see him rushing to school, meeting his friend at the bus stop or the transportation stop, and they're pretending to play with lightsabers and all that. I feel like that's a very typical 80s, 90s coming of age movie, how that all begins, right? Like I said, you have the in his case, in the main character's case, you have a parent who is never around because they're always busy with work, right? Single parent. So kid has to fend for himself or do things on his own. He has a big imagination, big aspirations for other things. And you can kind of see how that mindset of his will lead into either trouble or adventure or excitement, all that stuff. So it is really fun to see how all that plays out. Again, in an environment we've never seen this before in the Star Wars universe. So I don't know if the charm will wear off eventually. I did find it kind of weird to see like a family of the long nose aliens, as his friend goes home. He's like, "Hey mom, hey daddy," like, "Hey," and all that. It does seem kind of hokey in a way and kind of like silly, but again, there's a certain charm to it. So I will say that so far, it is pretty entertaining. And I will say this too. If I was 8 to 10 years old, I think I would love this show, because it's those kinds of things will be very attractive to me. And I'll be like, man, I wish I was there, or that's exactly what I hope the future will be like, But it does seem like if I had little nieces or if I had children, I'm pretty sure they would enjoy watching a show like that. And I'm hoping that at least the children who are having a chance to watch the show will enjoy this so far. So Kevin Davis saying Star Wars Skeleton Crew, pretty good. Grade C+, 75. All right. Jester has returned. Jester, nice to see you here. Hope you're doing well. Glad to hear that Paul is also having a great day. Arnold, I give the new Star Wars series 2.5 stars. You just notice that it's more for the younger Star Wars fan. Yeah, that's basically what I was saying. And like I said, it's not going to be for everybody. It really isn't. And that's perfectly fine. to have a property that can have things for you, things for them, things for kids, things for adults, things for older generation, newer generation, I think that's perfectly fine. And that's the way how it should always be. Not everyone has to like everything that is getting put out there. Now, it's a different situation if like everything that's being put out there just sucks and everyone hates on it. That's a whole different story. And of course, like what we saw with Marvel prior to what they are now, everyone was liking what Marvel was putting out, right? So it's just going to be very, very interesting to see how this is going to all play out at the end. But I am looking forward to seeing where the series takes us and where it's going to go from there. Next, Arnold, I will talk about the Indiana Jones games in a bit. I will let you know about that. The next thing I got a chance to watch was Creature Commandos. It's the new animated series on Max from James Gunn. Like I said, this is the official launch of the James Gunn DCU universe. And what I'll say is it is pretty much his Suicide Squad, but in animated form. They just found a way to create a new Suicide Squad team, a bunch of misfits and unknown characters that many people are not familiar with, me including. And I haven't even had a chance to read a lot of their stories when I used to read comic books back in the day. So the only reoccurring character is Weasel, who appeared in his movie. And as you know, if you watch the movie, he was one of the few that survived, right, at the end of the movie. So it's kind of interesting how he tied that Suicide Squad movie with this new series. So I guess Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn, is canon in a way. So it was really interesting to see that. This show is basically Suicide Squad meets Invincible with a hint of Todd McFarlane's Spawn animated show, because it's really adult. It's when you have a sex scene in an animated show, and not just any sex scene. It's like these guys were going at it. They didn't show it, but they showed a good amount of it, and you heard a good amount of it. So it is really hilarious to see that in animated form, and I loved it. It's fun. If you like James Gunn's humor, you'll dig this show. It has James Gunn written all over it. I mean, it makes sense. He wrote and pretty much put the show together. So far, the characters are very interesting, and it looks like the formula they're going with is that in each episode, we will dive deeper into each individual character's backstory to get to know more about them. And I'm sure towards the end of it, there'll be more of a team effort, more of a team thing, and then we'll see what happens after that, right? But it so far, it's good. I have to say it is enjoyable. I like what I saw so far. Again, we're only 2 episodes in, but it is entertaining. If you like animated series like Invincible, if you remember those adult-themed animated shows like Spawn back in the day, then this is something that you will really enjoy. If you loved Suicide Squad, the James Gunn directed Suicide Squad, then you would definitely like this too. If you like Peacemaker, it has the same humor in it, the same type of action in it, the same type of personalities as far as the characters go. You could tell James really loves putting these random personalities and characters all together as a group. It is very interesting that you could see it time and time again. He did it with Guardians of the Galaxy. He did it with Suicide Squad. He did it with Peacemaker. He loves putting these teams together. Groups of people that come from different forms of life, walks of life, different personalities, different dynamics and all. And he finds a way to make them work together very cohesively and have great chemistry with everyone. So it is going to be very interesting to see later on down the line, way later on down the line, how a new Justice League movie would look like, because we've seen how he treats groups, and he does a really good job at ensembles and all. So it will be really interesting to see what he does in the future. But it will also be interesting to see how Superman will turn out, because Superman, at least in this story, from what he's trying to tell, may be a little bit more of an individual story. But we already know there's a whole bunch of characters that are going to be in the movie too. So it may end up being kind of like a team up that we may not be aware of, but I'm enjoying it so far. I don't know if I particularly have a favorite creature commando character yet. I'm enjoying the bride so far, but I think the next episode they're gonna dive into the Nazi killing robot, which I think will be really fascinating to see. So, Paula says that they love Harley Quinn. How can you not? Harley is definitely one of the best characters in the DC universe, especially if you're into Batman and the whole Joker lore and all that. Uh, Interesting how Harley came into prominence too with the creation of her character from the animated show back in the day that I used to love watching. So, Kevin Davis saying Chris Evans is coming back to Marvel Studios Doomsday, and I'm not surprised by that at all. I was going to cover that news article later in the show. James Gunn, talented director, Warner Bros. Needs back-to-back wins right now. I totally agree, and I think Creature Commandos is a good first step for his DCU. Even though it feels more like his Suicide Squad and almost not a rehash, but it just feels very familiar, especially and also like Peacemaker as well. So, but it's a nice way to ease people into kind of his sensibilities, his stylings, his humor, if they've never watched Suicide Squad or if they've never seen Peacemaker. I highly recommend watching both because those are some great, great movies. And Peacemaker is a great show. I really, really like that show. I can't wait for season 2. But yeah, I really enjoyed Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is a really, so far, 2 episodes in, I'm enjoying it so far. Did anyone else see it outside of Skeleton Crew? I'm curious. Jester saying, I recently saw another movie for the first time called Almost Famous. I definitely know that movie. It's about rock and roll and that life, and I rated 7.9 out of 10. Almost Famous, when that movie came out, that was like a huge, huge movie. Big buzz all around when that movie came out. Believe it or not, I have never seen it. I have never seen it. That is one of my movies from that era, that time. I forgot what year that came out. That was like late 90s, maybe early 2000s. That for some reason, I have like these pockets of emptiness. And I that's one of the movies I have never had a chance to see, because when it first came out, I had no desire to see it because I was getting more into like independent film, more abstract out there films like Pulp Fiction and Clerks and movies like that. So Almost Famous felt a little bit too Hollywood for me, and I was not into that at the time. So I just didn't watch it. But it is a movie that I have to watch eventually. But I'm glad you had a chance to see it. I'm enjoying your movie journey, Jester, with all of these first-time movies that you're watching. It's very, very fun to be a part of that and letting us know and finding out what you feel about these movies watching it now for the first time. Kevin Davis, once again, with the animated features between Flow and Inside Out 2, DreamWorks with Wild Robot. I believe all 3 of those will definitely get Oscar nominations. I believe Moana 2 will also get an Oscar nomination for animated feature. And what is that? The Shell movie, the something Shell. I think that might get an nomination as well, but we'll see. I don't know. I think they may have released the short list for those features that are available for nominations. I have to look into that. I'm a little behind with all that stuff. But what else did I do last week? So, Ficon saying I only watch Star Wars and Batman, and that's perfectly fine. Why don't you, how about this? Let us know your favorite Batman episode from the animated series, from the old school 90s animated series, if you ever watched that. I'm curious to hear what your favorite episode would be. Arnold liking my X-Man hoodie. Thank you so much. Believe it or not, this is very old. I just like to keep my clothes very neat and clean. And this is definitely one of my favorite hoodies. So thank you for that. Thank you for noticing. So yeah, so outside of those 2 things that I watch, I also had a chance to play Indiana Jones, the new video game, and Marvel Rivals. So I'll start off with Indiana Jones. This is a game that I was highly anticipating for the whole year. I have a friend who I'm very lucky to have and was very kind to give me an early access code. And I was very, very happy to try it and play it early. And I played only about an hour and a half of it. That's all the time I had. But so far, I will say this. This is the Indiana Jones game I've been waiting for. I've always wanted a game like this, where the tone and everything that you do feels like you're in an Indiana Jones movie. You know, you have the soundtrack, you have the movements. The guy who's doing the voice of Indiana Jones, I forgot what his name is, Baker, something Baker. Really, really good at it. He's very good at it. And this is not a spoiler because you see this in the trailers. The game starts off basically you going through the opening moments of Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know, with the whole like going into the little tomb and the sand, and there's a moment where you're approaching the podium where the idol is, and you pull up your little bag of sand, and you have to empty a little bit of the sand out, and you get to choose how much of that you want to do, which is really, really cool and interactive. Paul is saying they're getting ready to go out for supper. Thank you for the subscription, Paula. I hope I could see you back here on another stream. In case you want to know, I stream usually Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So hopefully I get to see you again in a future stream, or you could check out any of the videos I post here. Thank you so much, and hopefully we could have more chats in the future. Enjoy your supper. So you know, it's little things like that that I found very fascinating. And you get to run away from the big boulder, and you have to like, you know, zoom in, and you get to use your whip to like swing around and all. But when you get past all of that, then you get into the main game and the main story. And it looks like the events that are happening here take place after Raiders of the Lost Ark. If you remember, Raiders was the first movie that came out. Temple of Doom was a kind of a prequel because that happened before the events of Raiders. And then The Last Crusade happened years after the events of Raiders. So it's weird how all that happened. So it looks like this happens like sometime after Raiders of the Lost Ark. And, you know, once again, you have to go on this mission because you're trying to find something. Marion is mentioned in there somewhere, and how they're still a thing, but then you know, because Indy, you can't keep Indy down. He has to constantly be on the go. And she's trying to corral him a little bit more. He's like, well, I gotta go. I gotta do all this stuff. And you only see the interactions from her through like letters and notes and things she leaves behind. But there's a lot of like stealthy, sneaky stuff, but it's up to you and how you want to approach it. If you want to go gung-ho in there, do it. I find myself playing the game thinking, and my friend, my good friend who gave me the early access code, said the same thing in a text message, where we are trying to think, what would Indy do at this situation? So I find myself always like starting off sneaking around, but then bumbling here and there, and then popping up somewhere where a guy's like standing in front of me. He gets surprised. I'm like, uh-oh, use my whip, grab his gun, and then we start fighting fisticuff style and all, you know. So that's a very Indiana Jones thing to do. And so far I'm digging it. And they've done a great job with the environments. They did a great job with the voice acting so far. I think they're pretty top notch. And again, the tone, and when playing it, you get that feeling like you are in an Indiana Jones movie. And like I said, it's only been an hour and a half I played. I can't wait to play more of it. I'm very excited to play more of it, and I'm very looking forward to it. So if you're into those kind of gameplays, or that kind of game style, first person action adventure, then this will be a great game for you to try out. And it's especially if you're an Indiana Jones fan, this will be like a great game for you to test out. I think it's a travesty that this is not part of the Game Awards nominations this year. That's happening. It's happening this Thursday. I am not going to be streaming it live because I think that Game Awards show is bullshit. It's just a 2 hours worth of advertisements, and the nominations don't make any sense when you have the potential of the Game of the Year going to a DLC. Like they sent me an email saying, well, hey, since you co-streamed this other thing with us, why don't you co-stream this? And I'm thinking to myself, nope, not this time. Besides, I'm going to watch the one-day release of Daft Punk's Interstellar 555 in theaters. So I'm going to be checking that out on Thursday. and I'll recap what happened at the Game Awards show on the stream that comes next Monday. But I think this should have been included in Game of the Year nominations because I think it has the potential to be that for a lot of people. But so far, I am enjoying it. And the other game I played is Marvel Rivals. Me and my friends are enjoying that game so far. Nothing big to talk about it. It's Overwatch, but with Marvel characters. If you ever played Overwatch, then it's basically the same thing, except this time you're Marvel characters, and they have this added dynamic to it where if certain people choose characters that go well together, they call it the Marvel team up, and then you get special bonuses and benefits out of that team up. So cool stuff, great thing just to do with your friends. Again, if you're into Overwatch and all those things, this is a game for you. But I really enjoyed all of that stuff. So there's my week. That was a recap of my week and things I got into. So feel free to let me know about your past week and anything that you've gotten up to before we get into our next set of topics that we're going to be talking about today. Let's see. I look like the East Side Wolverine. Yeah, but the only difference is that I have no hair. So you could kind of say maybe I'm old man East Side Logan, you know, without the hair. But at least I got the facial. All my hair that was up here went down to my face. So there you go. Jester was asking about the Indiana Jones game. I gave my thoughts on that. Ficon saying I didn't watch that. I have not watched the old stuff, only the recent and also Penguin. Ficon, I highly recommend that you go back and watch the 90s animated Batman series because it still holds up today. It really does. It's probably some of the best writing I've seen ever for an animated show that was supposedly geared towards kids, but had a lot of mature themes in there. There are so many fantastic episodes in that series. Hands down, outside of maybe the 89 Batman, Christopher Nolan's, was it the second Batman movie, The Dark Knight, and the Pattinson Batman, best Batman content ever put on screen is the animated series from the 90s. So I highly recommend you check that out. I also need to catch up and watch the Penguin because I haven't done that yet. Arnold saying I don't know if I have to buy it. If you're talking about Indiana Jones, I recommend that you do so, or subscribe to Game Pass because it is available on Game Pass. Jester, the game was one of the first things on my Christmas list. Jester, I think you will highly enjoy this game when you have a chance to play it, especially if you happen to be a fan of Indiana Jones. It does play out like a movie, which is great. So Arnold saying I enjoy Cyberpunk. The last week's a very nice game on PC. Nice. I played Cyberpunk for a bit. How many hours did I put into Cyberpunk? Maybe 20 hours? This was when it first came out. So I was playing it when it was still very buggy and there were a lot of like problems with it. I was using an exploit so that I can make a lot of money, get a lot of credits so I could buy a lot of stuff. And I got to the point where just like any other game that allows dating, I tried to date every female character I could. So I think I stopped at the point where I was hooking up with a third character or something. We had sex in a car. So I thought that was interesting. I need to go back because the game itself, it is very fun. Dating and sex aside, the game itself is pretty enjoyable. I need to go back because I did find the story also to be kind of very interesting. So hopefully, and now with all the fixes, they fixed so many of the bugs from when I started playing it, and the new DLC, the content that they created. I would love to check it out now because I don't think they're going to be supporting that game anymore because I think all of their resources are focused on what's that? Watcher 4, is it? Yeah. Is it Watcher? Is that the game? Witcher. Sorry. Oh, hello. They're focused on Witcher 4. So, same studio. Ficon saying, I want to play Jedi Survivor so bad, but can't because my PC specs are too old. Hopefully going to upgrade after Christmas. Jedi Survivor is fun. I like that game. What was it? Is the second game Fallen Jedi? I'm kind of in the middle of the second one right now. I need to get back to it, but I like the main character, Cal Kestis. I think the actor who plays him very well. And it does enough to keep me intrigued and entertained in playing a Star Wars game. Some of the fighting mechanics can be kind of frustrating at times, but I do like the fact that at least there's a game where you could do that stuff. You could play like a Jedi, have your saber battles, have your force powers and all that stuff. For me, it fills the bill of what I'm looking for in a Star Wars game outside of like the space battles. But if I wanted space battles, I would either go to Battlefront or Squadrons, which me and a friend tried out recently again, you know, with my flight stick in hand and all that. And we were having a blast. So Fallen Order is the first game. Yeah, Survivor's the second one. Thank you for that. Yeah, I get the titles mixed up, but yeah, I remember when I first beat Fallen Order, I was like, you know what? I was pretty satisfied with that ending. You know, I felt like, you know, all the things I went through and the crazy big reveal at the end of it, you know, the big chase and all that. And I'm just like, okay, hold on. That was pretty dope. That was cool. So I like that. The Jedi game is amazing. I have the platinum trophy. And wow, Arnold won platinum on that. Good for you, man. That's awesome. Really, really cool to hear. What's everyone's... So this is great because, Ficon, you mentioned after Christmas you're hoping to upgrade your PC. Jester mentioned that one of the things on his Christmas list is the Indiana Jones games. What's everyone looking forward to playing or watching during or after Christmas? You know, when everything's said and done, like when you get your PC upgraded, what's the first thing you'd love to play? You know, let us know in the chat. I'm very curious. For me, I'm not expecting to get like a lot of gifts and all that. You know, I'm too old for that at this point. I do treat myself sometimes, you know, and I'm waiting for some stuff to come in the mail for some of the things that I treated myself to. I will be revealing them on the channel, kind of doing like unboxing and all that stuff. Nothing huge, nothing big. They're definitely movie related, so I'm going to be talking more about that stuff. But I think one of the first things I need to play more indie. I need to play more indie. I want to play more Indiana Jones. So I have to do that during the Christmas holiday season. I'm not taking any time off because I'm still working. I'm still doing stuff for the channel. And movie-wise, there's a lot of movies I need to catch up on. Heretic just came out on demand this week. I really want to watch that movie. There's a lot of movies I haven't seen from the year that I would love to watch so that I can finally put together my best of 2024 list and talk about that with all of you guys. So let's see how that all turns out. Ficon saying Jedi Survivor. I don't know. That's like one quadrillion %. We all know where Ficon wants to do. Arnold, I want to play Indiana Jones, and I want to watch a beautiful woman dancing for me. Well, there you go. So basically what Arnold is saying is that he's going to be playing Indiana Jones at a strip club. There you go, Arnold. For Jedi Survivor, you need a 1060 GeForce card, but I have a 1050. Oh, you just missed out just by a little bit. I hope you can upgrade soon so yeah, you can play Survivor there, Ficon. And like I said, if anyone is a fan of Indiana Jones, I highly recommend you check that game out if you can, because that is a fun game. I'm having so much, and my friend, he just texted me yesterday. He's like, I gotta play more Indiana Jones. I gotta play more Indiana Jones. Like, we're really having a good fun time with it. All right. So yeah, Arnold wants to play Indiana Jones at a strip club with a girl dancing for him and eating a cheesesteak sandwich. Let's go. Yeah! That is like the dream Christmas scenario for Arnold. You know what, Arnold? When you made your wish, if you blew out any candles for your birthday today, I hope that was your wish, because I really want that to come true for you. let's dig into some of our topics. And of course, like every week, I like to talk about the box office. Not a lot to talk about as far as the box office breakdown from the weekend, but some things to note and to talk about real quick. So let's go here to one of my favorite sites, thenumbers.com, where I get all my stats for movie box office. No, I am not sponsored by them. I just like to make that voice as if they are. All right. So number one, once again, we have Moana 2 for a second week in a row. Moana 2 is making tons and tons of money at the box office, even though I think it is a mediocre at best movie. Just my opinion. But Moana pulled in 51.2 million domestically so far. And this is just crazy. It's about to hit $300 million domestically in just 2 weeks. So this is now going to be probably in its third week. It's going to get over there and then some. So you got that going on for the domestic. International box office is pretty much identical. So in a 2.5 week period. No, hold on. 2 weeks. Yeah. Am I saying that right? Yeah, 2 weekends. I should say that. Let's say that. In a 2 weekend stint so far, Moana 2 has already made close to $600 million worldwide. And that is bonkers. That is bananas. Bob Iger was right. This should have been a movie from the get-go. I just wish they took more time in working on that script, in my opinion. Because for me, you could really tell it was just scraps of something that they had already in place. Again, if you didn't know, I mentioned this before, Moana 2 was never supposed to happen. There was supposed to be a Moana show on Disney Plus. Bob Iger was like, no, we need people back in theaters. Make this a movie. And they did. And he's right. Look at that. Look at how much money it's made. It's crazy how much money he's made. But Moana 2 still reigning and sailing away to the high seas there at the box office. Coming in second is Wicked. But before, I should mention though, 63% drop from last weekend, though, Moana. But last weekend was a holiday weekend, so you can't really say too much about that. Now, if we see a similar drop next week, that's not a good sign. But Wicked saw a 55% drop in its third weekend, but came in second still, $36.4 million domestically. So far, $322 million domestically, or 325 updated. International now at 135.3. Worldwide, almost about to hit that $500 million mark, 460. Is it out in China yet? I think it is, or maybe not yet. Let's see. China, it came out last weekend, but only did $1.1 million. So not a lot there yet. Looks like Australia is driving this. France is driving things. You got Mexico driving a lot of that money internationally. South Korea. But United Kingdom, the good old UK, $17 million there so far. So I think we're going to see the international box office rise more and more. Most other countries are not getting this movie until January. So we're going to see this linger around for a good bit internationally. But I do think at the end of the day, Wicked has a good chance to close out its box office run close to $600 million, if not more, with the holidays still around us and all. Let's see here. Jester saying that I'm getting on my Xbox and telling me why a 4-year-old game called Cyberpunk 2077 is updating. Well, I don't know. When was the last time you went on your Xbox? Moana 2, of course, number one. Yep. I think Moana is so hyped because of The Rock? Not really. I don't think The Rock honestly has anything to do with this. It helps. I just think the first movie was very beloved by so many people. I remember when I was working at the time that Moana first released on Netflix. A good half of the office who were female all wanted to watch Moana on Netflix. It was just one of those movies that I think a lot of people really loved, a lot of people really enjoyed. And it goes to what Bob Iger was thinking and kind of the mandate he's putting on the studios now, where take what worked with audiences and keep going with that. Expanding on that, sequelizing it and all. That's why it was announced today that they're working on another Meet the Parents movie. I mean, who thought of that movie franchise in recent memory? I didn't. Meet the Fockers, Meet the Parents, because studios are learning that people want to see continuations of these storylines, and they will actually go to theaters to see it. Moana 2 is a great example of that. Now, not every franchise is going to work out the same, but don't tell the studios that. They're going to try to make everything work. So in this case, beloved movie, original, yes, The Rock was a big part of that, but also the music was. And that's why a lot of people were really looking forward to seeing this. Unfortunately for me, the music sucked in this one. None of the songs were memorable. You had less involvement by Lin-Manuel Miranda because he's too busy with Mufasa. So for me, that kind of hurt. My friend who has 2 kids brought them to watch Moana 2. And after 30 minutes, and his eldest son, who I think is like 5 or 6 years old, loved the first Moana. After 30 minutes, he told his dad, I need to go. Let's get out of here. He was so bored. He hated it. So I don't know if that says anything, but it's a great movie to take your family to also. It's one of those great choices for families. And that's one of the reasons why I think Moana 2 is doing so well. Ficon saying, I will play some Minecraft now, but your stream is going on in the background. Ficon, well, thank you so much for having me in the background, chewing your ear off, but enjoy playing Minecraft there. A game I've never played before, believe it or not. I think it just came out way past the time that I would be interested in that, but I know a lot of people love it. If you're looking forward to the Minecraft movie, let me know. It looks kind of weird to me, but hey, that's just me. Coming in third place is Gladiator 2. $12.5 million domestic, a 132.8 domestic so far, or 134 adjusted, with an international take of 235.7. Worldwide, we're at 369 here. I think it's safe to say that this is a big hit for Ridley Scott, so I thought it was decent. You're going to see a lot of memes out of this movie. Red One, that's now available on demand this week for the first time, premium on demand, that is in fourth place with $7 million domestic, 85.7 million so far. A new movie called Pushpa, The Rule Part 2. I don't know what that movie is, but it debuted in fifth place with 4.8 million domestically, 9.3 so far domestically. Interstellar had their re-release to celebrate their 10-year anniversary. Jester, if you're still in the chat, I believe you're going to see this. Am I right? Let me know your thoughts on seeing this in the theater for the first time. I'm dying to hear your take about it. That pulled in 4.6 million over the weekend. I personally watched Interstellar again at home here on Blu-ray, and it is a movie I can watch time and time again. It's so good. It is, in my opinion, Christopher Nolan's best movie, hands down. Solo Leveling debuted in seventh place. I believe this is anime based on the manga. Arnold said, I don't see Solo Leveling, but I love the books. Is this based on the manga? I'm not too familiar with this, but it debuted in seventh place, $2.4 million. In eighth place, another debut for King and Country, A Drummer Boy Christmas. This was a Fathom Events. This is another one of those kind of Christian, faith-based kind of movies. $2.2 million for its time. The newest movie from A24, Y2K, came out, debuting in ninth, 2.1 million. It's a very low budget movie. I wanted to see it, but believe it or not, none of my closest local theaters are playing it right now. So I have to kind of venture a little bit further out to watch it, and I hope to do so sometime soon. It's starring Rachel Zegler, just to name a few of the people who are in it. Wasn't thinking this was going to be a big hit, but I'm still curious about it. But debuted in ninth place there. And to round out the top 10, the best Christmas pageant ever. This is the adaptation of the famous book from back in the day. Also available for premium on demand as of this week. Pulled in 1.5 million, 34.4 million overall. Outside of all the rest of that, you have Werewolves, The Order, all of these new movies that are not nationwide releases yet. So that is pretty much the summary of the box office there. This week, we have two big movies that I'm looking forward to checking out. I don't know how good they're going to be, but you have Kraven the Hunter. Oh boy, brace for impact for that one. You have when you have the main star kind of basically pleading and begging for people to check it out, you know that's not a good sign. And the animated Lord of the Rings movie, The War of the Rohirrim, is coming out this week. So I'm looking forward to checking those movies out this week. I don't know if any of those two will make a dent. Maybe Kraven. Don't be surprised if Kraven ends up being like in second place this after the weekend. I could see a lot of people going out, especially those who are still supporting the Sony Spider-Verse there after watching and enjoying Venom. So maybe people will give this movie a chance. You know my rule. Before I shit on something, I have to watch it first. So I'm going to watch it and check it out. I'm hoping it's going to be at least entertaining. Kraven is one of my favorite Spider-Man villains out there. Hopefully they don't fuck it up too royally, but who knows? We'll see what happens. And I am very curious about the War of the Rohirrim, that Lord of the Rings animated movie. The animation looks very good. I believe Peter Jackson had a hand in producing it too. So I'm very curious how that movie is going to come out. So I'll be checking out this week, along with the very limited re-release of Interstellar 555 Daft Punk. So you'll be hearing me talking about that on the channel very soon. Arnold saying yes, manga. Okay, interesting. Jester, Interstellar didn't re-release any of the theaters I go to. That sucks. I go to AMC and it's my last resort. I'll go to Amstar, but it wasn't in either. I do want to see that new Y2K movie though. Yeah, I do want to see it too. Actually, one of the things I treated myself to, because I am such a huge A24 fan, is they set out for pre-order a VHS copy of Y2K. So they're releasing the movie on VHS. Very much what Alien Romulus did recently, and I missed out on that one. So I pre-ordered this one. Even though the movies may not be so good, who puts out VHS tapes anymore? Nobody. And I still have a little bit of that love for the old media. I still love VHS. I still love Laserdisc. I still love DVD. So I had to pre-order that for myself just for collection's sake. So as soon as that comes, I think it's going to come around January, close to my birthday. So I will do an unveiling unboxing on that. And then maybe I'll pop it up. And I'm hoping by then, the plan that I have here for the channel is that I'm going to set up the Discord server so that all of us can be a part of it. And I eventually want to have movie nights with everybody. I'll have it so that, you know, members will always have first dibs on movie nights, even bad movie nights. And then maybe once a month or once every 2 months, I'll do like an open movie night so anyone can be a part of it. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it all plans out. I'm still going to be very busy going into January, but that's eventually what I want to do. And I thought Y2K on VHS would be an interesting thing to do as far as a movie night goes. I think it'll be a lot of fun to do something like that. So we'll see what happens. But that's the box office breakdown there for this past weekend. So yeah, we'll see what happens with this coming week with the new releases coming out. Nothing big. I think the big stuff is really that's left, at least for the year and for the month, is Mufasa and was it Nosferatu and A Great Unknown. But I think A Great Unknown is going to be more kind of specific. I don't know if that's going to be like a nationwide movie that a lot of people are looking forward to. I'm looking forward to it because I'm interested to see what Mr. Chalamet can do as far as playing Bob Dylan. You know, so I'm interested to see how he can portray that character. Again, it's one of those Oscar baity type of movies, so I'm sure it's very Oscar baity. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I enjoy movies like that, you know. So the thing about me is I can enjoy movies like that. I can enjoy your Marvel superhero fanfare, and I can enjoy obscure horror movie, whatever the case is. I just love movies in general, and I hope you guys can relate to that. Just saying, gosh, I can't wait till the Discord server. Yeah, I have so many thoughts about it. I'm going to be working with a friend of mine to kind of like figure out all the logistics of it. So hopefully sometime soon I can get something like that going, because I think that'll be a lot of fun for all of us here. Um, Arnold saying, today I got a series as a gift. It's called Dinotopia. Just fantastic. Why does that sound familiar? Isn't that an old sci-fi series? I feel like it is. I don't know. Jester, I have been very skeptic of Timothy Chalamet. I'm going to call him Chalamet. Since day one, wasn't a big fan of Dune, wasn't a big fan of any of his other movies, but I'm interested to see what he will do with Bob Dylan. Oh, that's interesting. Well, you know what? I feel like a lot of people feel the same way about him. I remember the huge discourse online about Timothy was, how good of an actor is he really? You know, I enjoyed this. I love Dune. I think he's great in Dune. Dune 2, I thought he really stepped it up a notch or two with that. I thought he was good in Wonka. You know, I was surprisingly entertained by Wonka. I wasn't expecting to enjoy the movie as much as I did. I thought his role in Little Women was cute. You know, Francis Ha, he plays this interesting character in that. I loved when he popped up in, what was that, The French Dispatch, you know, Wes Anderson's movie. You know, he does these interesting roles, and for me, I do find him as a fascinating character. Call Me by Your Name, I think, still is by far his best role. If you've never seen that movie, I believe that was directed by Luca Guadagnino. That is definitely a role of his that is fantastic, and I loved seeing him pop up in as a very young son of whatchamacallit, in Interstellar. It's nice to go back and see how many movies he was actually in back in the day. So if you Google it, you know what I mean. Arnold saying about Dinotopia. So let me look this up real quick, because I do feel like I know what he's talking about. Dinotopia. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Oh, I totally remember this. Hell yeah. I've never seen it, but I so remember this. This came out, when did this come out? 90s. Yeah, this was like an early 90s. Oh my God, this is crazy. Oh, that's right. It was associated with German television. That's right. It was produced by the Hallmark Entertainment. Yeah, that's so funny. I totally remember this show. I mean, I remember it existing. I've never seen it, but I remember it existing. That's awesome. What did you get? You got it as like a DVD set? Digital download? Have you watched it yet? That is your favorite Dino series? That's awesome. That's pretty awesome. DVD, yes. Very cool, man. I love getting I love receiving gifts like that, you know, because it's such like a nostalgic trip, you know. Um, what did I do? Oh, I was this close. I didn't bite the bullet, but when I was working the recent conventions, you know, you sometimes you have those people who set up booths and they sell DVDs. A lot of the DVDs are bootleg DVDs, right? But they're basically like, they put together compilations of like old TV shows, programs that are very hard to find nowadays. And I was this close at buying the full set of Muppet Babies, the original animated show from back in the 80s. Still, hands down, that is like one of my favorite Saturday morning cartoons when I grew up. And you can't find it anywhere because of licensing issues. Within each episode, they always like use their imagination to put themselves in a movie or to play a certain song, and there was like a soundtrack, and sometimes they would highlight the hit song of the week or whatever. But because there are so many different licensing rights to a lot of that piece of content, Disney, who now owns, you know, the property of Muppet Babies, they don't want to bother securing all those rights, and they refuse to work with anybody to release the full series on Disney Plus or put it out on DVD or Blu-ray. So you really cannot find the classic 80s Muppet Babies cartoons officially released anywhere right now. So there was a guy who had a booth, and he had the full run of Muppet Babies on bootleg DVD. I don't know what the quality of it was. He doesn't have a player or TV to show it. And it was $40. And I was like, oh man, there's a big part of me that kind of wants to bite the bullet on this one, but at the same time, I'll be very disappointed if the quality sucked. So I didn't do it, but I love being able to have that moment where you can kind of just relive your childhood, even if it's just like a TV show or a movie, and get something unique, like a unique gift like that, So that's a lot of fun. I hope you have fun when you have a chance to watch that, Arnold, for sure. Because that's awesome. Trip down memory lane. All right, let's get into our next topic here. And basically what this topic is what are the best films of the year according to certain critic circles, early awards shows that already happened. We had the Gotham Awards that happened last week, which is kind of like what they love calling this the East Coast Oscars, right? You have the New York Film Critics Circle with their top choices, the LA Film Critics Circle with their top choices, the National Board of Review, and then very importantly, you have the AFI with their top movies of the year. Now, if you don't know who the AFI is, they're the American Film Institute. I remember back when I was really getting into film in like the late 90s, early 2000s, AFI, they maintained this list of the top 100. So I always remember hearing AFI top 100, AFI top 100. And what it is that they put together this list of the top 100 movies ever, according to them. And a lot of people usually hold that list as a gold standard as far as these are the top movies ever made because the AFI said so. And one of my missions that I haven't had a chance to do yet, even though I'm sure there's a good bunch of movies on that list I've already seen, was to go by one and watch each of the top 100 movies and do like a review of all of them. So I'm hoping to do that eventually someday before I die, because that's a lot of movies, But yeah, so AFI released their top movies of the year, and I wanted to review a lot of that stuff. But first, let's go with the Gotham Awards. And I'll say this up front. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of movies I talk about today that a lot of you won't know anything about or may not even be interested in. And that's perfectly fine. But it's just interesting to talk about and see what people are buzzing about so that when the Oscars come and the nominees are announced and everyone's vying for that trophy, we'll know at least where the landscape is. And I've been very fortunate enough to see a lot of these movies already, thanks to New York Film Festival and early screenings. So I just want to see where the buzz is, So first, let's go and look at the Gotham Awards. Arnold saying, I was 6 years old when I saw the first time. Never forget. Do you know the movies from childhood who makes think with you? I hope you know what I mean. I'm not sure what you mean, Arnold. Are you talking about like movies from childhood who identify with me, or that like kind of characterize who I am? And maybe if someone says, hey, this movie reminds me of Renee, something like that, or reminds me of Arnold, or reminds me of Jester or Ficon, let me know if that's what you mean. All right, 2024 Gotham Awards. So let's go here. I don't want to read the whole article. I just want to see the results here. So let's see do they list them out, or are they going to force me to have to read this entire article here? You know what? Instead of doing this, and I apologize, I should have had this ready up here. I'm just going to pull up a list because I don't want to go through the whole blah, 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 yada, 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 zip, zip, zip. All right, here we go. Thanks, Variety. See, Variety made it easy. Here's a list of all the winners. That is what I'm looking for. So here we go. All right, so according to the Gotham Awards, the winner for Best Feature went to A Different Man. Now, looking at some of the things we're going to be reviewing after this. A Different Man is a movie that not a lot of people are talking about, but a lot of people were talking about mid-year and during the film festival time, because everyone's saying Sebastian Stan is outstanding in this movie. And Sebastian Stan also did The Apprentice, the movie about Donald Trump. So he had two movies working with him that had him in it that people were buzzing about. Very much like Saoirse Ronan, who did Outrun and Blitz. So very similar in that case. So it's very interesting. Oh my God, the ads on this fucking site. It's very interesting to see that Different Man won Best Feature at the Gotham Awards, which is very New York centered, very, very catered towards the New York Film Critics Circle. So I'm not surprised a movie like this will get a top honor. But look at those that are nominated. ANORA, Baby Girl, that's not fully out yet. Challengers, that came out during the summer, which I thought was a decent movie. Nickel Boys, which is a great movie I saw at New York Film Festival. A Different Man I haven't seen yet, but it is one of those movies I really desperately want to catch up on, along with The Apprentice, because I kind of want to do like a back-to-back Sebastian Stan marathon. And I think Sebastian Stan, based off of everything that we're hearing about these two movies, could potentially be considered for a front runner in an acting category, whether it's supporting or best actor. We'll see what happens. But, you know, it's interesting that that movie won Best Feature there. Outstanding Lead Performance. Oh my God, the amount of ads on this shit. Went to Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing. So what they do here is that they combine actors and actress into one single category, which I kind of respect that. But it kind of makes it hard because there's so many great performances here. You have Pamela Anderson in The Last Showgirl, which I heard great things about. It's not fully out yet. Adrian Brody is brilliant in The Brutalist. Believe me, when this movie comes out later this month, people should check this out. Great immigrant story. Awesome acting by Adrian Brody. Might be his best. Sing Sing I haven't had a chance to see yet, but I have heard Coleman Domingo is fantastic in it. You have Marianne Jean-Baptiste in Hard Truths, and she makes that movie. That is, I would have never said to anyone, you have to watch Hard Truths if it's not for her. When I saw it at New York Film Festival, I didn't know what I was getting into. She is fantastic in that movie. I hear nothing but great things about Nicole Kidman in Baby Girl. Keith Kupferer in Ghostlight. I don't know what that movie is. Mikey Madison is outstanding in ANORA. Demi Moore, I heard, was brilliant in The Substance, another movie I need to catch up on. Saoirse Ronan is getting a lot of acclaim for The Outrun. I thought she was also good in The Blitz. And Justice Smith for I Saw the TV Glow, A24 movie. Another movie I need. Icon, have a brilliant night. I hope you have a good night. Looking forward to talk to you more about Skeleton Crew next week, hopefully. Arnold saying, I mean, movies that changed your personality and drove you in the direction of movies and everything you are right now. Oh, easy. Clerks and Pulp Fiction. Those are the two movies that made me realize that movies are more than just what you get from Disney and big studios. That there is other ways of telling stories, ways of making you think, and ways of challenging you on how you perceive things. Those are the two movies that really, really forced me into another direction and really formulated my appreciation of film. Also 2001, Stanley Kubrick's 2001 also did that to me. And I will also say Clockwork Orange is another movie that did that for me as well. I could go into a full-length conversation about that. But those are the main movies that I remember vividly after watching them, opened up my eyes and forced me to look at movies in a different way and kind of formulated the way I would approach movies and kind of helped formulate my personality moving forward. Great question. I would love to hear the same from everyone else as well. Outstanding supporting performance went to Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing. Sing Sing is getting a lot of mention here at the Gotham Awards. You also had Yura Borisov for ANORA. Kieran Culkin, who I think is brilliant in A Real Pain, another great movie. Danielle Deadweiler for The Piano Lesson. I have not seen that yet. Bridget Lundy Payne for I Saw the TV Glow. Natasha Lyonne for His Three Daughters. His Three Daughters was getting a lot of buzz earlier in the year and kind of faded fast. So along with Love Lies Bleeding too, Katie O'Brien there. Guy Pearce also in The Brutalist. His character is an interesting one in that movie. Adam Pearson for A Different Man, and Brian Tyree Henry for The Fire Inside, which is also coming out this month. That's the movie about the true life story of the female Olympic boxer that I'm kind of looking forward to checking out. Best director went to Ramel Ross for Nickel Boys. Given again that this is a very New York centered awards, I'm not surprised because at New York Film Festival, everyone was buzzing about Nickel Boys. Nickel Boys, Nickel Boys, Nickel Boys. It is a good movie. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Definitely worth the watch. But the rest of the nominees here, you had Pael Kapadia for All We Imagine as Light, Sean Baker for Anora, Guan Hu for Black Dog, and Jane Schoenburn for I Saw the TV Glow. This is probably one of the only awards that you will hear I Saw the TV Glow mentioned as much as is being mentioned now. I think more critically, it is a movie that is kind of mixed on critics and all, but we'll see when we review more of the list here. Best International Feature went to All We Imagine as Light. Others were Green Border. Nominees were Green Border, Hard Truths, Inside the Yellow Cocoon Shell, and Vermilio. So when it comes to Oscars, definitely look out for All We Imagine as Light as being international feature film. I also do believe Secret of Sacred Fig is going to be another one that's going to be nominated in there. Those are probably the 2 big headliners as far as international feature when that time comes around. Best documentary went to No Other Land. Other nominees in this is Dahomey, Intercepted, Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, Sugarcane, and Union. I've only seen Dahomey, which was a very interesting documentary about a subject I knew nothing about. But it's not something I would say that like really stood out of everything that I saw. Best screenplay went to His Three Daughters. Nominees there were Between the Temples, Evil Does Not Exist. That is another movie you could potentially see in international feature at the Oscars. Femme and Janet Planet. Breakthrough director went to Vera Drew for The People's Joker. You'll probably only hear about that in this awards show. Again, People's Joker is that type of movie that only cinephiles know about. Not a lot of people have ever seen that movie. I haven't seen it yet. I have it available. I do want to watch it because I'm very curious about it. Then other nominees were Shuchi Talati, Girls Will Be Girls, Indiana Donaldson for a good one, Alessandra Locaraza, In the Summers, Madi Fleifel, To a Land Unknown. Best Breakthrough Performer went to Brandon Wilson for Nickel Boys. Other people in this category that were nominated were Lily Collius for a good one, Ryan Destiny for The Fire Inside, Maisie Stella, My Old Ass, and Isaac Wang for Dee Dee. And that's pretty much it. So at least from here, the Gotham Awards stands out on its own because not a lot of the winners here you will start hearing in other top 10 lists, other lookout lists, other awards buzz lists. Nickel Boys, you will hear a bit about. I think Ramel has a good chance of being considered for director as far as nomination. Nickel Boys may even get a best feature nomination. We'll see. But as far as any of the other winners here, I don't think you're going to hear much of. Maybe Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing for sure. And that's pretty much it. You know, I will say that. I don't think you'll hear A Different Man mentioned much in Oscar race time. But if it does, I'll be pleasantly surprised. But I need to see it for myself before I could even make any further judgments on that. Now let's get into the New York Film Critics Circle's best films of 2024. And this and LA critics, you can kind of see where their heads are at, right? And they claimed that The Brutalist was their top film of 2024. I'm not surprised by that at all. But that is a very New York thing. Why? Because The Brutalist is an immigrant story that takes place in New York. It's about an immigrant who fled, the atrocities of World War II and trying to build something for him and his family in New York at that time. It is a very fully rich immigrant story, a New York story. Like I said, Adrian Brody, probably one of his best performances I've ever seen from him. So I'm not surprised that the critics within the New York area would nominate this and elect it as their best film of the year. It is a good movie. It really is. It's like an epic period piece. I mean, it is like, what, over 3.5 hours long, I believe. It has a built-in intermission. You don't see movies like that anymore. So it is an epic grand scale movie, but is definitely worth the watch. Best director, they said, was Ramel Ross for Nickel Boys. Again, not surprised by that. Best actor, Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. I guarantee you, Adrian Brody is definitely going to get an Oscar nomination for actor in the acting category. That I believe for sure. Best actress, excuse me, Marianne Jean-Baptiste. Again, not surprised by that because her performance is brilliant. Best screenplay goes to Sean Baker for Anora. Best supporting actor goes to Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. Best supporting actress goes to Carol Kane, Between the Temples. Now that's a first. I don't know much about Between the Temples. Of course, I know who Carol Kane is. So that makes me more curious in watching that movie. I have to check that movie out. Best animated film goes to Flow. Good old friend of the channel there. Kevin Davis kept mentioning Flow as potential Oscar nominee for that category, and I do believe that's going to happen. Best cinematography go to Jomo Frey for Nickel Boys. Nickel Boys, I could see cinematography-wise will get a lot of attention because of the point of view perception in that movie. They basically went with a first-person point of view, which means you are seeing the whole movie through the eyes of the main character. And you don't see a lot of movies do that. And the way that it was done for this movie, I thought was done brilliantly. I thought it was really, really well done. So I also feel like Maria, which is a new movie with Angelina Jolie, that's going to be out on Netflix tomorrow, I believe, that I had a chance to see at New York Film Festival, is going to also be in the cinematography category because the cinematography in that movie is beautiful. And I think Angelina Jolie is back to her like acting chops in that movie. That is a Pablo Larraín's like trilogy of like very, very strong female leads and strong female characters in history. You know, after covering Jackie Kennedy and Princess Di, now to round things off with Maria, I think this is probably his best out of the trilogy, in my opinion. You have Best First Film going to Janet Planet. You have Best International Film, All We Imagine as Light. Best Nonfiction Film going to No Other Land. Special Award to Save the Project, the MoMA International Festival of Film Preservation. And then you have a student prize going to Alexander Swift there. So it's very interesting to see. We're starting to see, this is where, well, what the hell just happened there? That was weird. We're starting to see a lot of commonalities. And you're going to see more and more of this the more lists I review. Brutalist, Nickel Boys, right? You're going to hear people mention stuff about Marianne Jean-Baptiste, Anora with Sean Baker, and Kieran Culkin with A Real Pain. You're going to be hearing a lot of that, I think. The more and more we start seeing these lists coming out and everything. So very interesting stuff there. And anytime, let me know what your thoughts are on any of these recaps and lists here. Maybe it's just me, but I always find a lot of this stuff extremely fascinating. Going really quick to Arnold, for me, it was Star Wars, The Clone Wars, Dinotopia, Harry Potter, Ben 10, and Wizards of Waverly Place. You definitely grew up during the Disney Channel era, which is awesome. I have a lot of friends who have also. So I can see how these are the things that you grew up with that kind of changed your perception of media and content and formulate your personality. So I think that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Ben 10 is a great show. I wish I saw more of that. I also wish I was more of age when that show came out, because that was a fun show to watch with the little episodes that I saw there. So, all right. So that was the New York Film Critics Circle. Let's now go to the LA Film Critics, and they named Anora as their top film of the year. So let me scroll down here and go to the categories here. So they said for them, Best Picture is Anora. and runner-up was The Brutalist. Again, you're starting to see commonalities here, and I'm so glad that these two top mentioned movies were part of the New York Film Festival lineup. So thank you to New York Film Festival and Lincoln Center, Film at Lincoln Center, for allowing me to be a part of that. I'm very, very happy and very pleased about that. Great movies. To this day, ANORA is still my favorite movie of the year, my best movie of the year. I also, like, you already heard me talk about The Brutalist, so good choices there. Best director, there when it went to Mohammad Rasulov. See, I said pay attention to this. Seed of the Sacred Fig. This is going to be a big movie that people are going to be talking about, especially for international feature. Why? Because of what this guy had to go through. He was ousted from his country because of this movie. He was going to be imprisoned, and he was going to be prevented from working on this movie. He had to seek exile and escape his country, and ended up, Marnold, you love this, ended up in Germany. And it's Germany that's helping him release this movie to a worldwide audience. So this could potentially be your German entrance for international feature film for the Oscars next year, for a movie that was filmed in the Middle East. I saw this also at New York Film Festival, and I will say I love the first two acts of it. Kind of lost me in the last act, where you have a lot of intense things happening and just tragic stuff happening, seeing about the events that are happening there during the time of them filming this. But then the end kind of felt like a Scooby-Doo mystery ending, where you have a lot of people just chasing around, trying to chase each other, and I was just kind of laughing at that point, even though maybe it wasn't funny. But I can see why a lot of people like this movie. Again, the story behind it is the best story, I think, that's going to be driving this movie a lot come Oscar time. Runner-up goes to Sean Baker for ANORA. I don't have any grievances about that. Like I said, ANORA is my favorite movie so far this year. Best lead performance, they gave it to Marianne Jean-Baptiste, again, for Hard Truths, and Mickey Madison for, or Mikey Madison. I keep saying her name is Mickey. It's Mikey, sorry. Mikey Madison for ANORA. Probably two of the best female performances I've seen all year, this year. Great, great movies. Hard Truth is a great movie because of Marianne. 1000%. She made that movie. Mikey Madison also makes ANORA as well. But there's so much good stuff happening in ANORA for me that not surprised by this. Runner-ups goes to Demi Moore for The Substance and Fernanda Torres, I'm Still Here. I think right now, the front runners for Best Actress, the Best Actress category at the Oscars for next year, Marianne Jean-Baptiste, Mikey Madison, and Demi Moore, from what I'm hearing. I haven't seen The Substance yet, but I think those are the three front runners. I won't be surprised if maybe you'll see a Nicole Kidman go in there. Angelina Jolie has a good shot at being part of that group because of Maria. And maybe a surprise, I don't know. But if they announce Pamela Anderson, I won't be surprised by that either, from what I'm hearing from that movie. I can't wait for it to come out so I can finally watch it. So, Best Supporting Performance went to Yura Barizov for ANORA and Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. Again, two movies that showed at New York Film Festival that I was very pleasant with. Real Pain, I actually got a screening from the studio on that one separately. So, good, big shout out to that studio. I forget, was it Lionsgate or Neon, or I forget who it was, but you know who you are. I love you. Mwah. But great performances here. I think Kieran Culkin definitely has a shot for supporting category at the Oscars. He's just so brilliant in that movie. The chemistry with him and Jesse Eisenberg is so good. Runners up go to Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing and Adam Pearson, A Different Man. So interesting stuff there. Best screenplay went to Jesse Eisenberg for A Real Pain. Runner-up goes to Sean Baker. Again, you're going to be hearing a lot about these movies. Best documentary nonfiction went to No Other Land. Runner-up was Dahomey. Believe it or not, when I was going into my screening of Dahomey at New York Film Festival, I really thought it was going to be about an African rapper.
Wow.
I kid you not. I kid you not. I honestly thought the movie was going to be about an African rapper, and I thought his name was Dahomey. I didn't know that Dahomey was an actual place in Africa. I'm an idiot. I'll admit I'm an idiot. But yeah. Arnold saying I can remember I had the watch from Ben 10 as a toy, and I was going out with friends and reenacted the episodes. Oh, that's pretty funny. That's cute. Yeah, I love when you have a chance to wear kind of the props from your favorite shows and all that, especially when it's a practical use. I don't think I can walk out in the streets with a utility belt like Batman, but I think that'll be kind of cool to do so one day. Best cinematography goes to Nickel Boys. Jomo Frey. Runner up is Lol Crawley for The Brutalist. The Brutalist does have very nice cinematography. It feels like you're watching a movie that was filmed in the 70s. Very similar to like The Holdovers. And I know Hollywood loves those kind of throwback filming styles. So, best music score went to Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross for Challengers. I would even say that Reznor and Atticus have two movies that they could get nominated for as far as music and score: Challengers and Queer, the movie with Daniel Craig, because that score for that movie is brilliant. The movie itself, it wasn't my favorite. It was decent, but very, very good score and soundtrack there. Runner up goes to Aiko Ishibashi for Evil Does Not Exist. I agree with that too. I would be happy to see if Aiko can get that nominee at the Oscars. Best production design went to Judy Becker for The Brutalist, and runner-up went to Adam Stockhausen for Blitz. And nice to see Blitz being mentioned here. Blitz, if you haven't seen Blitz, you gotta do yourself a favor and see Blitz. It is an amazing production for that movie. I think Steve McQueen did a really good job with that movie. It should be talked about more. Best editing went to, it's a tie between Nicholas Monsieur for Nickel Boys and Hans-Georg Weisbrich for September 5th. September 5th. I believe that's coming out here this week. Limited, or I don't think it's nationwide. I had a chance to see that movie about 3 weeks ago. Really good movie. I really enjoyed that movie. Especially if you're familiar with the events that happened during those Munich Olympics. In my review on Letterboxd, I mentioned that I actually did a report on the Munich Olympics in grade school. So I knew quite a bit about what happened there. But a lot of the books that I read at the time was very like sensationalized. So it really focused a lot on the dramatics and not so much of the politics behind it all. That's why I recommend a great double feature would be to watch September 5th and then watch Munich. Steven Spielberg's Munich really goes well hand to hand together there. So really, really good stuff. Best animation went to Flow. Runner up went to Chicken for Linda. Flow again getting mentioned quite a bit. Best film not in the English language went to All We Imagine as Light. Runner up being The Seed of the Sacred Fig. So that is their international category there. Douglas Edwards Experimental Film Prize went to The Human Surge 3. I don't know what that is. And New Generation went to Vera Drew for The People's Joker. So that is what the LA Films Critics Circle thinks about the movies of the year so far here. So it's very interesting dynamic between New York film and LA film critics, but you're seeing a lot of similarities and a lot of repeats as far as mentions are concerned. Maybe different outcomes, but you're seeing a lot of the same movies and performances and creative being mentioned in the same categories there, right? But what does the National Film Board of Review film? What do they think? Well, Wicked was named Best Film of 2024 by the National Board of Review. Now, if you don't know who the National Board of Review is, I'm going to give you the pure definition of who they are. National, what is it? What are they called again? National Board of review. All right. The National Review Board. I didn't even say it right. What the hell's wrong with me? I think I'm dyslexic. The National Review Board is a committee created by the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops in 2002 to monitor the implementation of the Charter for the Protection of Children and Young People in response to the clerical abuse. Wait, that's not it. What the hell is this? Wait, that's a different one. My bad. Why did AI pull that up? That's not it. That has nothing to do with movies. What the hell's wrong with you, Google? Or Microsoft Bing? You're on crack. All right, National Board of Review. The National Board of Review of Motion Pictures is a nonprofit organization of New York City area film enthusiasts. Its awards, which are announced in early December, are considered the first major honors of the year. So that is who the National Board of Review is. Again, it's formulated by a bunch of critics from New York. I don't know what the difference is between them and the New York Films Critics Circle, right? But they said that Wicked is their top movie of the year. So here's a list of the NBR 2024. Best film, Wicked. Best director, John Chu for Wicked. Best actor, Daniel Craig for Queer. I think Daniel Craig has a good shot at being nominated for Best Actor in the Oscars next year. Even though that movie didn't hit for me, I will say that his acting in that movie is fantastic. Probably one of the best acting performances he's ever done. Nicole Kidman for Baby Girl, Best Actress. Best Supporting Actor goes to Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain. Again, you're hearing similar things. Best Supporting Actress went to Elle Fanning for A Complete Unknown, movie that's coming out soon. Best Ensemble goes to Conclave. I love seeing that because Conclave is a fantastic movie. I just wish they didn't have that kind of ending. For that type of ending, really removed the star for me. Breakthrough Performance went to Mikey Madison, again, ANORA. Best Directorial Debut goes to India Donaldson for a good one. Best Original Screenplay went to Mike Lee for Hard Truths. Best Adapted Screenplay went to Clint Bentley and Greg Quedar for Sing Sing. The NBR Spotlight Award, creative collaboration of Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. The NBR Freedom of Expression Award goes to No Other Land. Best Animated Feature went to Flow. Best International Film went to Seed of Sacred Fig. Best Documentary went to Sugarcane. Outstanding Achievement in Cinematography, this is interesting, went to Jareen Blashk, or is it Blashki, for Nosferatu. See, I can't wait for Nosferatu to come out. And Outstanding Achievement in Stunt Artistry went to Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. So you can tell the NBR loved Wicked. Wicked was their top film because Wicked shows up a lot here in Best Film, Best Director, Collaborative Ensemble between Erivo and Grande. So very, very interesting stuff there. But again, we are seeing some similarities and mentions of Kieran Culkin, Mikey Madison, Nicole Kidman, things like that. Secret of Sacred Fig, Flow. So a lot of repeat mentions here. And then their top films of the year in order, in alphabetical order. ANORA, Baby Girl, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, Gladiator 2, Juror Number 2, Queer, A Real Pain, Sing Sing. Of all the movies here, I have not seen Baby Girl yet, A Complete Unknown yet. I have not seen Juror Number 2 yet, or Sing Sing. But I've seen the rest, and I will say that I'm surprised Furiosa Mad Max Saga is on this list. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just surprised they would consider it as a top film. I enjoyed the movie, but top film? Not for me. Also, Gladiator 2. Entertaining, above decent for me, but not top film. So very, very interesting. ANORA, you already know, I said this before, my favorite film of the year so far still. A Complete Unknown, I haven't seen it yet, right? Conclave is another film I really enjoyed, 4 out of 5 stars for me. Queer didn't work for me, but I heard a lot of other people really enjoy that movie. For me, it was a 3 out of 5. Real Pain, really love that movie. I gave that a 5 out of 5, I believe. So there. Those are the movies I saw there. Top 5 international films. All We Imagine Is Light. The Girl with the Needle. I've been hearing a lot of stuff about that too. I'm Still Here, Santosh, and Universal Language. I've not seen any of these movies. I had a chance to see All We Imagine Is Light at New York Film Festival, but I wasn't able to make that screening. So, top 5 documentaries. Black Box Diaries. I agree with that. I still have yet to do a review on that, but that is a fascinating documentary about a Japanese reporter during their version of the Me Too movement there. The Homie, Look Into My Eyes, Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, and Will and Harper. I still have yet to watch Superman. I can't wait for that. Top 10 independent films. Bird, A Different Man, Dee Dee, Ghostlight, Good One, Hard Truths, History Daughters, Love Lies Bleeding, My Old Ass, and Thelma. I love Thelma gets a mention here. I enjoyed Thelma when I saw that earlier this year. That's so good. Dee Dee is also a fantastic film. For a while, Dee Dee was my favorite film of the year. And that, when I saw ANORA, totally took it over. So, Different Man I haven't seen yet. Haven't seen Ghostlight. Good One I haven't seen. Hard Truth is great only because of the lead actress I keep mentioning. History Daughters, I told you, was getting a lot of buzz earlier in the year. Kind of died out. So did Love Lies Bleeding. And My Old Ass, I'm surprised a lot of people talk about that movie with Aubrey Plaza. So I probably have to see that sometime soon. Hopefully I can before the year ends. So those are all the stuff according to the National Board of Review. Now, the piece de la resistance. What does the AFI say? And the AFI has their list here. And according to the AFI, American Film Institute, their best films of the year are ANORA, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, A Real Pain, Sing Sing, and Wicked. An amazing list here. And I'll be honest, their list would probably my list will probably end up matching their list when the year comes to an end. And after I see movies like A Complete Unknown and when I finally get a chance to watch Sing Sing. Because this is an amazing list. I pretty much agree with most of this. ANORA was 5 out of 5 for me. The Brutalist, I believe I gave it a 4 out of 5. Conclave, 4 out of 5. Dune Part 2, I think I gave it a 4 or 5 out of 5. Emilia Perez, 4 out of 5. Nickel Boys, 4 out of 5. Real Pain, 5 out of 5. Wicked, surprisingly for me, I gave it a 4 out of 5. Top movies here. I'm telling you, my list may end up looking like their list when it's all said and done. Really amazing stuff there. And again, you're going to be hearing a lot about these movies as deeper we go into the award season, especially once the Oscar nominees are announced. They also do their television programs of the year. I'm not going to talk a lot about them because there's a lot I'm behind on. For example, never watched Abbott Elementary, never watched The Bear, never watched Hacks. I did watch Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Great show. I enjoyed it. I still haven't watched The Penguin. I haven't watched Shogun. Shrinking, season 1, fantastic. Haven't seen season 2 yet. And I never watched True Detective. And a special award went to Baby Reindeer, which I also didn't see. So I'm so behind with a lot of this stuff. But at least you get a sense of these are the top pieces of content of 2024, according to AFI. And again, AFI, I'll never forget. I'll always think of the AFI Top 100 as the go-to of the best films ever created. That's the list they constantly maintain. So there you go. And eventually, this all led into the Golden Globe nominations, which I said before, I don't support this group. I don't care about this awards show. It's crap. It really is, especially with the way that they select their categories or they name their categories. But people do look to them as the precursor to what is to be expected at the Oscars. So I will review it based on that mentality. So according to Golden Globes, which is more of a foreign press and the way they look at film and the way they nominate, for Best Motion Picture, their nominees are Brutalist, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nickel Boys, and September 5th. No mention of ANORA, no mention of Wicked, which is crazy. No Sing Sing. So very, very interesting. You know, again, they're the foreign press. So this is what they consider to be worthy of motion pictures here. And plus they're limited. Unlike the Oscars that can expand to 8 to 10 movies, they're only limited to this amount, 6, right? But they also have different categories because this is just their drama category. Best motion picture for a musical or comedy. ANORA, Challengers, EMILIA, PÉREZ, A Real Pain, The Substance. I didn't know that was a musical or comedy. And Wicked. I didn't see Challengers as being a comedy, but this is one of the most controversial categories that they've had in their whole awards program. Because, yes, ANORA had a lot of funny moments, but it's also very drama heavy too. No musical. The musicals here are EMILIA, PÉREZ, and Wicked for sure. But I'll never forget when they nominated The Martian, Ridley Scott's The Martian, as in this category, musical or comedy, when it was neither. So that's why they should just combine this category with this category and just call it Best Motion Picture and call it a day. Because that's basically what the Oscars do. But interesting choices here for sure. Something to take note of. For animated motion picture, Flow, Inside Out 2, Memory of a Snail, which I mentioned earlier, Moana 2, Wallace and Gromit, and The Wild Robot. I think this is pretty much what is to be expected for animated feature during Oscar time, for sure. Cinematic and box office achievement. So this is basically the top box office winners of the year. They're going to honor them with an award. Alien Romulus, Beetlejuice, Deadpool and Wolverine, Gladiator 2, Inside Out 2, Twisters, Wicked, and Wild Robot. I think the big major contenders in this category is Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, and Wicked. It might be the fight between those three. We'll see. Non-English language, best motion picture. So basically international feature film. All We Imagine Is Light, EMILIA, PÉREZ, Girl with a Needle, I'm Still Here, Seed of the Sacred Fig, like I said, from Germany, and Vermilio. I think the big contenders here are Seed of the Sacred Fig and All We Imagine Is Light. We already saw from the other list, All We Imagine as Light is getting top nods in a lot of those lists there. So, but it's always different when you come to the Golden Globes and Oscars. So, best performance by a female actor in drama, you got Pamela Anderson, Angelina Jolie, Nicole Kidman, Tilda Swinton for The Room Next Door. I love the mention of that. She was really good in that. Her and Heather Graham, not Heather Graham. What's her name? Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Hold on. The Room Next Door. Julianne Moore. For some reason, I can never get Julianne Moore's name. I always think of Heather Graham as a default. I don't know why that is. But anyway, great movie. Great chemistry between the two. I really enjoyed that movie. So Tilda Swinton, Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here, and Kate Winslet for Lee. I haven't heard anyone talk about Lee. I saw it on a whim during New York Film Festival. It wasn't part of the festival, but I just saw it, like a regular movie, and I thought it was good. Kate Winslet is naked in it, so that's cool. Best performance by a male actor in the motion picture drama, Adrian Brody, Timothée Chalamet, Daniel Craig, Coleman Domingo, Ray Fiennes, and Sebastian Stan. I love that he's at least getting a nod here. He deserves it. Best performance by a female actor in a motion picture, musical or comedy, Amy Adams for Night Bitch. I'm surprised by that. Cynthia Erivo, Carlos Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez. That's well deserved. Mikey Madison for ANORA, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Zendaya for Challengers. I'm surprised anyone would give Night Bitch the attention, but Night Bitch is an okay movie. I had a chance to see it a couple weeks ago, but Amy Adams is good in it. I will say that. Best performance by a male actor in musical or comedy: Jesse Eisenberg, Hugh Grant, Gabrielle LaBelle for Saturday Night, Jesse Plemons for Kinds of Kindness. Now that's interesting. Glenn Powell for Hitman, and Sebastian Stan for A Different Man. Very interesting grouping here. I think if anyone has a big shot, it could be Jesse Eisenberg or maybe Sebastian Stan. It'll be kind of weird to see Sebastian Stan winning two separate categories for two separate movies. That'll be really interesting if that ever happens. Best performance by female role, female supporting role in any motion picture, regardless of drama or comedy or musical: Selena Gomez, Ariana Grande, I could see that. Felicity Jones, okay. Margaret Qualley for The Substance. Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, no. Zoe Saldana, Emilia Perez, she should be the one. Her performance in Emilia Perez reminded me of how good of an actress she is. She is outstanding in that movie. Outstanding. Best performance by a male actor in a supporting role in any motion picture: Yura Borisov for ANORA, Kieran Culkin, Edward Norton, complete unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice, and Denzel Washington for Gladiator 2. Yura is getting so much push lately, but I do feel like Kieran Culkin owns this category for sure. Again, his performance in that movie, Real Pain, is fantastic. Best director for a motion picture: Jacques Audard for Emilia Perez, Sean Baker, Edward Berger, Brad Corbett, Coralie Fargate for The Substance, or is it Fargeet? I don't know. Payel Kapadia for All We Imagine Is Light. I think for the foreign press, I have a feeling they're probably going to go with Sean Baker on this one. Still deserved, well deserved, because that movie is still amazing. Best screenplay: Emilia Perez, ANORA, Brutalist, A Real Pain, The Substance, Conclave. Great choices here. I don't know where this would go, honestly. Maybe ANORA or The Brutalist for screenplay, because all of these movies are top-notch movies. Best original score goes to Conclave, The Brutalist, The Wild Robot, Emilia Perez, Challengers, and Hans Zimmer for Dune Part 2. Now, interesting note for Hans Zimmer: I believe he is disqualified for getting a nomination for Dune Part 2 at the Oscars. I saved an article here. Hold on, let me pull it up and talk about this real quick, because I found that extremely fascinating when I saw that. And there was a part of me that was like, why? Why is that? So here I am on Dark Horizons. Oscars disqualify Zimmer's Dune Part 2 score. It's been confirmed by Variety that Hans Zimmer's score for Dune Part 2 has been officially disqualified for the Academy Awards and will not be on the ballot for consideration. In addition, the film score has been rendered not eligible for the BAFTA Awards as well, which had its first round of voting on this week. The score remains eligible for Critics' Choice and Golden Globes, as we just saw here. Word broke back in October that the film may not be eligible for this year's Oscars due to surpassing the Academy's limit on pre-existing music. Under the rule, which applies to sequels and franchises from any media, the score must not use more than 20% of pre-existing themes and music borrowed from previous scores in the franchise. Zimmer's score incorporates substantial elements from his work in the 2021 film, thus pushing it outside of the criteria of eligibility. At the time, though, the score had not been officially submitted, so it wasn't clear if it could make it. Later, Warner Bros. Did officially submit Zimmer's work, hopeful it would meet the requirement. It doesn't, and the Oscar shortlist voting period begins on Monday, with the 20 shortlisted scores arriving on December 17th, so that's going to be next week. So, yeah, Hans Zimmer is, as of right now, for his work in Dune Part 2. Shit out of luck for any Oscar consideration for that category. But at the very least, he could possibly get a Golden Globe for his soundtrack to Dune Part 2. So we just learned something today. There's a little nugget of information there for those of you who may be interested. Best Original Song for a Motion Picture, Beautiful That Way, Last Showgirl. Compress Repress from Challengers. El Mal for Emilia Perez. Forbidden Road from A Bitter Man. Kiss the Sky, The Wild Robot. And Mi Camino, Emilia Perez. I'm pretty sure one of the songs from Emilia Perez will probably win in this category. Some great songs in that movie, for sure. Best Television, let's not go into television. I just want to focus on movies because, again, a lot of the television stuff I'm so behind on. But if you're interested in seeing what they were considering for television programs, you could check out the rest of the nominations online. So, yeah. Overall, very interesting stuff. And after my time at New York Film Festival, it's basically what I already kind of had in my mind as to what we're going to be hearing and what we're going to be seeing as far as what the critics think the top movies are for the year and what we could potentially see during the major award ceremonies. Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, eventually the Oscars. I'm curious what's going to happen during the DGAs, Screen Actors Guild too. So very, very curious to see what's going to happen there. So I'm curious in all of your thoughts, whether you're watching live or on demand. Out of everything that was mentioned during top 24 list of New York, LA, National Board Review, AFI, Golden Globes, what are some of your favorites? And if you haven't seen any or some of what was mentioned, what are you now interested in watching to prep yourself in order for this crazy movie awards race of next year? Because I say this often, but it bears repeating. There's a lot of great movies that come out every year. And this year, and also last year, have been some great years for amazing movies that come out. I saw a lot of great movies, but these movies are the type of movies that are not generally and broadly considered as great movies because not a lot of people had a chance to see a lot of them yet. So one great thing about these things is that it at least shines more of a light to some of these movies and maybe aren't on a lot of people's radars. And I highly encourage you to check them out. That's one of the reasons why I do what I do, so that I could spread the word on some of this great film that go out there. And these are some of the great films that have been out there this year. So it'll be really, really curious and exciting to see what's going to happen when it's all recapped and when we come around Oscar time, because it's going to be interesting, at least for me, or at least if you're like me, you'll find that to be very, very interesting overall. Paula is back. Paula, I hope you enjoyed supper. And it's nice of you to come back. You loved Wicked. I loved Wicked too. I was surprised at how much I loved Wicked. My only criticism with Wicked is that I did not fully enjoy the third act, the final moments, where they kind of veered a little bit too much away from the musical aspect and became more of like a fantasy action kind of thing. A little bit over the top for me, but overall, I was pleasantly surprised with Wicked and what I saw with that movie. When I was thinking earlier in the year that this movie was going to be terrible, I really, really thought it was going to be terrible. But like Arnold just said, Ariana Grande surprised the hell out of me. And I was kind of expecting that when I saw her on SNL, Saturday Night Live. I was like, wait a minute. She's actually kind of funny. And her timing is actually pretty good. And then when I saw her in this movie, and I'm not an Ariana Grande fan, never been, I was shocked. I was like, wow, she is funny. She has great timing and amazing chemistry with her and Cynthia Erivo. Amazing chemistry. So, and plus I also loved Bowen Yang. I thought he was such a great supporting character in that. So Arnold, you did see Wicked eventually. And Arnold also said, I want to see my Romanian uncle Nosferatu. I can't wait for Nosferatu to come out. I really can't. I'm glad you liked it, Arnold, because I think you and I were both saying earlier this year that there's no way this movie was going to be any good. You know, the trailers, I think the early trailers did not do it any justice at all. But I was pleasantly surprised when I finally saw it. Yeah, it's just it was a feel good movie for sure. Jester saying, I don't know. I'm kind of sad about the Oscar nominations. I feel like a lot of movies I liked from this year and had a very positive opinion on won't be mainstream enough to be recognized. Well, the good thing about the Oscars is that sometimes they don't always go with what mainstream is. You know, there are times the most common criticism that the Oscars have had always was that, oh, here we go. They're putting a lot of attention on movies I haven't seen or no one has ever had a chance to see. I kind of like that. As someone who does watch those movies without being told to, or not because of the Oscars, I like the fact that we're getting a good mix. I think it's only in recent years that they started to dive a little bit more into mainstream. You know, get some recognition of like the top performing movies or the movies that are more generally loved by general audiences throughout the year. You know, we saw that in the last 2 years with them including movies like Barbie and like that. I think last year was the first time that we actually saw that happening. You know, with Barbie being mentioned, because in any other year, if Barbie came out like in 2016, I highly doubt Barbie would have been considered for an Oscar nomination for Best Picture. Highly doubt it. But it happened. You know, so we're gonna see like more changes like that. But I don't think, given who's involved with the Academy and who who votes, I don't think we're ever going to see it fully be just mainstream stuff. Arnold saying Will Smith is back. Yeah, hopefully he won't fly up there and smack anybody else anytime soon. Or I kind of hope he does, because since I like to live react to the Oscars, I would love to see him, kind of fly off the handle like that. So yeah, so like I said, very fun year of movies, interesting year. It's not over yet. We still have a good amount of films coming out in the next couple of weeks that I can't wait for. Yeah, we'll see how it all pans out. The only big news article I wanted to read that Kevin mentioned earlier was the whole Chris Evans returning to Marvel for Avengers Doomsday. I mean, is that surprising to anybody at this point? I mean, I don't think that's like, oh my God, really? I'm not surprised. I think it kind of makes sense, especially since they're treating Doomsday as kind of like the prelude to Secret Wars, and it's supposed to be, kind of, again, another multi-dimensional thing happening and blah, blah, blah. Or maybe he's going to return as old man Captain America, as old man Steve Rogers, Who knows? I mean, they haven't even mentioned as to what capacity he's going to be in the movie. He just said, oh, he's going to return. Okay, great. Wow, big surprise. Just saying, like, one of my favorite films from this year was a small indie horror movie with Nicolas Cage, and it's called Arcadian. It's post-apocalyptic thriller, and I don't think it will be recognized. It won't be recognized because it doesn't meet the criteria for the Oscars. I don't think Arcadian played in any of the major cities theatrically for 2 weeks or more. So that is the one thing that always hurts a lot of movies, especially streaming movies, is that in order to be considered eligible for Oscar nominations, you have to have a theatrical run in I think 2 or 3 of the major markets, that being New York, LA, I believe Dallas is one of them. Chicago might be another one. But you have to at least be LA, New York. And you have to be in a theater or theaters for 2 weeks. That's why Netflix bought a theater here in New York. They own the Paris Theater. That way they can have their films be eligible for Oscar nominations. In LA, Disney owns the El Capitan. so that their indie films or their streaming films can be eligible like that. So Arcadian, if memory serves me right, was not theatrically released in any of the major cities for more than 2 weeks. That's why it won't be eligible. So, but that doesn't make it not eligible for any other kind of awards ceremony. Given that it's a horror movie, I believe there's a horror awards that happens every year. Maybe Shudder has something like that. I don't know. But yeah. At the end of the day, if it's one of your favorite films from the year, that's all that matters. It is a movie that you enjoyed. So best way to spread the word is just talk about it. Do your Letterboxd review, share it on social media, and do what you will. By the well, what the hell am I saying? By the way, if you want to follow me on Blue Sky, I've been on Blue Sky for over a year, almost 2 years actually. It's just, I never used it. But since more and more people are leaving X, and I know this for a fact because in 1 week, I saw 40 followers drop from my Twitter account because, whatchamacallit, I think they all left Twitter. They all left X. So I am on Blue Sky. Just look for the Low-Key Geek, and you can find me there on Blue Sky if you happen to be on there. Paula Cage was in Longlegs. Yes, he was. And what a movie. Still, in my opinion, one of the best horror movies of the year. Horror/thriller movies. Because it is a movie that sticks with you long after you watch it. And the mystery and curiosity of his character still is in my mind after all this time. Great movie. I love it. I haven't seen The Substance yet, and I haven't seen that other movie, Strange Darling or whatever it's called, that a lot of people are also saying are some of the best horror thriller movies of the year. So hopefully I'll get a chance in the next couple of weeks to watch all of that stuff. So yeah, good stuff all around. So again, at the end of the day, I just love talking about this stuff, and I love sharing all this stuff with you. But I have been streaming now for over 2 hours now, so I think I'm actually going to call it a day. I usually try to keep it within 2 hours and all that, but I'm so happy and had a lot of fun with all of you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in as always every week. I really, really appreciate it. I will be back to a normal schedule. Hopefully there's no other construction happening. I'm hoping no construction happens anymore, but I'll be back to my regular scheduled time of Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you all back there. Before I go, of course, I love to shout out those in the chat. Arnold saying, bro, everyone left because you too good and you don't lie and love what you do. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you think that. You're wishing me all the best. Well, I wish you all the best. I know you're also currently looking for a job, so I wish you good luck. I hope you could find one too. And again, happy birthday to Arnold. Everyone give Arnold one last happy birthday wish there. Throw some love in the chat. Throw some hearts, some cheers, some celebrations. Do all that good stuff. Paula, a new person to the community. I hope you remain in the community. I hope I could see you and we can all see you and have conversations again in the future. Thank you so much for subscribing. Jester, always a pleasure. Ficon, who was already in La La Land, sleeping away. Always fun to have him on board. Kevin Davis, of course, always love him chiming with his bot-like stats and predictions. I love it. I still think he may be a real person. I don't know, but we'll see. I love all of you guys. And those of you who may just be lingering in the background, not saying anything, I love you all equally the same. Jester saying, I really miss when you used to do Friday streams. Is there any chance we could have those come back? I will say this. I will look at my schedule once all my personal crazy stuff is done. You know, I've said this before, and I'll just quickly repeat it. I'm in the process of moving, changing locations. There's a lot to do. It looks like it's going to be expanding into January until I'm all settled in the new spot. I'm hoping once all that is done, I can reevaluate my schedule and I'll see if I could squeeze in a Friday stream in there for sure. I miss doing Fridays too, because I think Fridays is a good time. That's usually when people like to unwind and relax and all that. So fingers crossed in the new year, we'll have that change and come back. Hopefully we could have the Discord up and running so that we could do bad movie nights, whatever the case is. I'll keep all of you all posted. So as I just need to get all that stuff done, all the personal stuff done, and then we'll be good. And plus, it's been so busy with my other jobs and all that I've just been swamped all over. So that's why I could only maintain a one stream schedule right now. And I appreciate the understanding and the support you guys still give. So I hope you can understand. Bear with me a little bit longer, and hopefully we could return to something that is more friendly and more accessible for you guys and all that. But again, I appreciate all you guys. I wish you all a great rest of your week, going into a great weekend. Let me know what you end up watching, playing, whatever the case is when I'm back next week. So remember, always tip your waitress, tip your bartender, turn off your phones at the movie theaters, stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. Stay tuned for the Geek Tua coin coming out soon with me and Haley Welch. Talk Tua, spit on that thing. I will catch you all next week. Peace out, y'all. Bye-bye.